What would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail?
The biggest thing I've learned from this startup that I wish I could tell my younger self is
the problem with the startup industry is that
we are all somewhat brainwashed, but this is proof that it actually helps in the long run.
That reminds me of a Silicon Valley episode. Hello, we are in Collision Conference in Toronto 2024. I will be today asking questions to the top founders, some AI, some not AI, but most are in AI in here. I've walked in, a lot of AI. Yeah, I'll be asking them their journeys to getting started with their startup company and the reasons behind starting this company. And we'll ask for advice, of course, hopefully because I'm looking to start my own company soon. With that being said, let's go and talk to some people.
I am here with
Liz Dykes from Sweetbot.
In one sentence, how would you describe Sweetbot?
Empowering everyday people to have confidence to use tech.
Start With Self is a web application that uses purpose and fulfillment as a mechanism for productivity and wellness. So the idea is that we guide our users towards a version of their life where they're not struggling or that ideal version, and we help them break down and take the steps in order to get there.
So my name is Ashan Saini. I'm a co-founder of Life Logics. Our product is developing a chronic disease prevention application that leverages behavioral changes to improve 3 pillars of life: sleep, exercise, and nutrition.
Which is like our whole life.
So everyone, my name is David. So our startup is called Project Gravity. And essentially it's a startup addressing the needs of bystanders whose loved ones are falling down the rabbit hole conspiracy theories like QAnon. And so we created a chatbot to address those needs.
I think that instead of moving faster and faster all the time, what would actually benefit people is if they maybe took some time to slow down a little and reflect.
Yep.
And I personally have found journaling to be one of the best ways to slow myself down. So I figured, okay, this is great, but it keeps everything to me. And I wanted to find a way to help people broadcast it to the world. So the idea with Flowcast is that it provides a place for people to journal their thoughts, but it also provides a way for them to build in public, kind of like automatically publishing a blog. And each one is generating an intellectual property asset that you could, if you wanted to, monetize in the future.
The problem with the startup industry is that there's not enough inspired and passion-driven founders starting new companies. You know, if you take a look around here, there's a lot of AI companies. And since when did everyone become wanting to start an AI company? Like, it's a suitable company to start and it's very interesting, but it seems that people are more interested in extracting value from certain things than actually creating products that they're passionate about. So, the startup industry is less so about making connections, making networks, and more so about following your passion towards that product that you think is going to do well, because that's where you're going to have the real motivation to finish. When the going gets rough, you're going to have to center back into why did you start this? And if you started it for money and you have $1 billion, well, do you think you're still going to want to work, right? So it's not glitz and glam. It is hard work, and sometimes a lot harder work than people expect. So get ready to cold call, get ready to knock on doors, and be prepared to run a business.
Take a moment and figure out what your idea of success truly is, that you're not following what television has told you, you're not following what your parents have kind of bestowed upon you, making sure that you actually put the ladder on the right wall, because when you get to the top, and if you're not resonating with you what that success is, you're going to feel like, why did I do all this? So sometimes you're like, you get that title or you get that salary bump or you get that whatever you get and you just feel it kind of makes you wonder, did you figure out what actually success means to you?
We are all somewhat brainwashed, and it's very hard to actually filter through that brainwash that the world keeps giving us through social media, through the internet in general. Yeah, I'd say journaling, reflecting, and seeing what yourself is actually telling you and not what the world is telling you is critical to finding something like Sweetbot, your own Sweetbot.
Exactly.
And
Sweet spot for yourself.
your sweet spot and building that.
The biggest thing I've learned from this startup that I wish I could tell my younger self is any sort of idea you have, may it be a mediocre idea, good idea, bad idea.
Start writing down your ideas. So really grassroots, old school, take out a pen and paper and just start scribbling it down so you can figure out what your idea is and seeing if it's actually succinct enough to share with the world.
take some action on it to try to validate it, because you might think it's a good idea, but somebody else might not. So this idea actually, even before this, started off as I always wanted something that had 3-in-1 apps, so sleep, exercise, nutrition in one app. But after that, I came across this book and realized this is something that could be put together to create a larger application, right? So I think the biggest thing I can say is take action, because if you won't, somebody else will, and you'll lose out on a pretty good opportunity. It doesn't have to be $1 million or $1 billion idea. Even if it's not a great idea, you'll learn so much from just the process of customer validation, to finding a product market fit, to going through that process of development of an application, product, whatever it may be, that I think this should definitely be done.
I think that a lot of what people think about ideas, we just assume that the ideas come from within, that they just appear. But really what's happening is, as humans, we have so many senses, and we're taking in information all the time, and we're processing it through our internal filters, and then that resonates in some way that gives us an idea that we then express it. So if you don't know the source of the information that caused the idea to come into existence, it can be harder to replicate that idea and really build off it and connect the dots between all of your different ideas. But I found that using Obsidian with journaling and doing a lot of mindfulness practice, that's a big element, is mindfulness and like philosophy. Then I'm able to kind of track the source of the information and use that to augment the expression of these ideas. And my ideas just come faster and faster and faster. Now I'm taking the time to try and distill the ideas and find the connections between them. So maybe I had 10 ideas that I thought were unrelated, but if I find a way to connect them together, well, that's going to be more impactful to me because I've connected all of these thoughts, but it'll also probably be more impactful for others because there's multiple points for them to resonate and relate to.
Be open to more opportunities, put myself out there, but not be shy to even introduce myself to other strangers as well, especially at tech conferences like this, like 44,000 people. Your mind can be your own worst enemy. It really can.
I really relate to that.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I kind of surpassed that barrier, and that's why I'm making these kinds of videos. Like
Exactly.
I used to never approach random strangers like that, but now I kind of trained that muscle and got used to it. Sometimes just asking a simple question, approaching people, it can change your life. The butterfly effect, if you know what that is.
Butterfly effect.
Sometimes our own self-doubts and the imposter syndrome affects us and stops us from becoming whoever we want to be and starting whenever we want to start.
Yeah.
Did you face that in your journey?
No, I definitely face that. I still face it. What helped me with that is a lot of my research around happiness research and positive psychology, and just understanding who you are, what are your values and what are your strengths, and finding a project that makes sense. And that, I don't know if you've heard of Ikigai. So just, the cross section. So that's truly what I have cultivated for myself, a place that I can amplify people's potential and actually give them a bit of a map that they can find themselves in.
I was actually just watching a YouTube video about Ikigai, and did you read the book?
No, I haven't.
Same, but I really relate to the idea of having these four quadrants. This one fulfills all four.
Yeah, it really does.
Everyone has their own beginning, but that shouldn't define where you want to go.
Exactly. I think it goes back to the narratives we tell ourselves too. It's like a narrative, I'm not good enough, but like the key is like noticing that narrative in your mind and your thought process, and just trying to just change it a little bit. Okay, maybe there's that negative narrative, but how can I go beyond that narrative, make it more positive impact on your own self-narrative?
One of the things that my mentor told me was believe in the product yourself. If you believe in it and you genuinely want to create a vision for yourself, others will start believing in it as well, right? If you don't believe or partially believe in your product or half-ass it, then other people probably won't see the vision you are seeing your way. So definitely do that. Other than that, another thing I realized from my mentors is something I said already. You can think something's a good product, but there's so many different opinions out there that you never know until you actually go out there and find out. Some people will say it's a good idea. Some people will say it's a bad idea, but the overall consensus and what you believe in matters the most, in my opinion.
I spent a long time looking at different programs, funding institutions, grants. I find that these actually end up distracting you from doing what you really need to be doing, which is serving your customer. Right? Like I really take after Amazon there, which is just like, okay, at the end of the day, your goal as a CEO is to effectively add value to your customer. I would have pursued less things that are like, hey, we'll give you $100,000 to develop this. And I probably would have just taken that time I would have spent doing the applications just to continue building.
You can just come up with these excuses that stop you from actually doing the work and getting something out that can actually help people.
Yeah, like break it down, get out the app that you're working on, and then worry about showing it to people, because then the right people are going to come. You know, you want to give it time to grow. Like, it's really easy in this world to get caught up in this like venture capitalist hype. People seem to think that like raising money means you're successful, but I can tell you, just because you raise $1 billion doesn't mean you're going to be able to turn that into 3, right? So taking your time off the start, doing the work you know needs to happen, and remaining focused on your customer. Yeah, that's what I would advise.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a good startup founder, if you're a genuine founder who's trying to make the world a better place, your first priority is not the money.
Yes.
It's the impact that you get to make with the application that you're building.
And that is sometimes hard to stay in touch with, right?
That is very true.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that'd be the advice I'd probably give anybody, is just remain focused on creating value and less so much about extracting value.
Final words, if you have any. If not, then we're done.
I'll have some final words. You know, push hard. You know, go big. Like, you want to play big in your 20s, right? Like, do what you think would be too big for yourself even, right? Like, definitely go big.
You probably know this question. It's by Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
He asks, what would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail?
Whoa. Right?
That's a question to reflect on. It's
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's basically what you were talking about. Like, go big.
Go big.
What would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail?
Exactly.
And go for that.
Yeah, and go for that.
If you fail,
100%.
you learned a lot. Probably.
If you fail, you have something you're proud of too, right? You didn't just do another run-of-the-mill thing somebody else did. You did something hard.
Yep.
You did something interesting, and that will always pay off because you're investing in yourself.
So I think a lot of people get really caught up with journaling as like, oh, I don't journal, I don't do this well, you know, like this isn't for me. But I think the goal isn't to try and say like, I can't do this, but to find a way to make it work for you. Because reflection, I think, is an essential element of bettering ourselves as humans. If we don't take time to reflect, we can't figure out what works and what doesn't work, and we are unable to recalibrate our sense of self.
I feel like I'm like following your footsteps in terms of journaling and reflecting and eventually building something out of that, like Flowcast, to help the world in that same process.
I think in order also to be successful, is to adapt too. It's like you had to be open to change. Set your ego away and just really tinker what could we do better, you know, and address our own faults too, for sure.
Yep.
Absolutely done.
Yeah, we have a lot of cognitive biases that influence our decisions.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, it's a whole other topic to discuss, but we're gonna have to end it right now. It's been we spent a little too long, but yeah, it was
Super cool. It's awesome. Yeah, but thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, final plug. Project Gravity, give it a try. I'd like to share some few thoughts that I had as I'm editing this video. First off, it was a huge pleasure getting to know these founders. Also, I hope you guys found a lot of patterns that these founders have in common. You can deduce certain habits they have and incorporate them into your own lives. One of them was, of course, writing down your ideas, as Liz mentioned. Not only that, but taking a further step in connecting these ideas to maybe possibly form something even bigger, something more impactful. And these come up through reflection and journaling in whatever way you do it. What the hell is this balloon doing here? To the people who reached this point of the video, thank you. And God bless your dopamine system. I really hope you guys found this video useful, and if you liked it, like the video. Next week I'll be dropping another video where I ask improv professionals about improv, because improv changed my life and I think it can change yours as well. So if you're looking forward for that, hit the subscribe button, and good luck, have a lovely life. Goodbye.